Welcome, viewer. This is Flourish Hub Show, the show that inspires, educates, and motivates you and your family to enable you to flourish together. In this platform, we'll discuss tools and conversations that will enable us to take up this flourishing journey as families. Your host is Jackie Wegoki, a Thrive Coach. Yes, indeed, I love to see people, see individuals thrive. And with me on my right is Pastor Gideon Moya and Rose Bai. Pastor Gideon and Rose, I'll ask you to introduce yourselves. Then, today, again, we are continuing from where we stopped last time. We were discussing the whole issue of infidelity, and that's where we want to pick it up from. So, welcome, Pastor, welcome, Rose, and you can introduce yourself, then we can plug in into the conversation for today.
Yes, Pastor Gideon Moya from Antioch Fellowship Church, Thika, and also a Bible teacher in the same institute, that is Antioch Institute for Training in Ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
I am Rose Bai, a counseling psychologist, and now mastering in marriage and family therapy. I'm glad to be here so that we flourish together.
Thank you. Yes, we look forward to really flourishing also as families because we are family people. Now, again, like last time we were discussing the whole aspect of infidelity, and we looked at what are some of the aspects that are contributing to the infidelity. We also discussed that there seems to be a trend that also infidelity and faithfulness is not only a man's thing, it's also a women thing. And we said that unless we purpose as families to walk the journey of life together after marriage and make a choice that we want to remain faithful, then infidelity can easily creep in. So today we want to continue from where we stopped. And I want to start by asking our psychologist, before we come to the pastor. Rose, there are times when I think about infidelity and think about our values as Christians. The Bible tells us, or rather from a Christian perspective, we look at the whole aspect of forgiveness, and the whole aspect of why we need to remain in marriage. Of course, Christian perspective is that the whole aspect of divorce is not something that we really want to get into. And we always say it is so great if families can resolve their issues and don't get there. But legally, they say, for example, infidelity is one reason why, a continuous infidelity, that families could separate. I don't know what's your take on that. Do you feel that sometimes we can be so engrossed in our Christian perspective that we keep, like encouraging continuous infidelity? That is a spouse who, for example, in this case, maybe is faithful to an extent where it becomes almost like a culture in the family. What's your take on that?
Okay. I must say that Christianity has a lot of inputs.
Yeah.
And there's some people who take advantage of Christianity and continue cheating because they know as a woman or as a man, it is not very easy for someone. Like we said, there's a lot of cover up in marriages, especially for believers, because there is a feeling of they know, as Pastor said that very well, they know as perfect couple.
Yes.
But it's perfect out there, but in the marriage, you are in pain. So there are people who continually go ahead doing this because they know, even if she says or he says, no one will believe me. I mean, I'm a big person out there and no one will believe. So actually Christianity works at times like a cover up because they know nobody can believe even if they see me, they can't believe.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there is a lot of things that are happening in marriages because that is one of the abuse in marriage. When you deny or rather when you engage yourself with an outside relationship, that is an abuse. It can be an emotional abuse because a spouse will be in pain for the longest time. And because this person will be in pain continually, there will be that feeling of, I am being abused, I am helpless, and all these things will lead to a divorce. Because, like what you said, even the Bible says, one of the things, the only thing that permits actually a divorce in the Bible is adultery. But then, I always say, and I believe, if you can resolve it, there are many people who forgive their wife, or rather their husbands, or rather their spouses. In case you are in a position and you feel you really in it, it is very possible for you to come. We discuss, we talk, we get to know that. We say there must be where you're coming from. What is this that makes you feel your spouse is not the best person, so that we can talk. But then hiding anything in the religion, which is happening a lot, it is something that we should stop.
Yeah.
Even if you're in church and you know something is happening, get a counselor, get a drive code, get a pastor, talk to someone about it, so that you get a solution. Because the more when you take some eggs, and you know what we said, when you want chicks, you take some egg and a hen. Then with the time, what do you give? Chicks. So what is happening nowadays? We are incubating so many things. Immorality, we incubate. We want whatever you incubate. So with the time, we have full grown characters that is very hard for you to deal with. But deal with them as much as you see some of these behaviors and you suspect things are not okay. Talk to someone so that you don't make church a home of robbers, a home of adultery, a home of cheating. We make church the way Christ wanted the church to become.
And when you think of church, you're thinking also of family.
Yes.
Because the family is a church.
Yes.
And you're bringing in also what I was talking about, that it starts bringing a culture. You know, we take advantage because the parents engage themselves in infidelity. You find the children think that is the norm. They also become immoral, and the trend just seems to continue. Before you know it, that's the culture in that home, unfortunately. All right, Pastor, what's your take? That you're saying sometimes Christians, and I think sometimes Christians also will not speak out, and it may continue because also of this issue of labeling. You know, there are times when you're like, people expect the fact that, for example, you're that smart couple that people think, yes, they're working right and all that, yet there's pain. So you're like, I don't know what the society will think about me if I come out in the open. I might be labeled. Yeah? What's your take on that, Pastor?
Yeah, and it is about what I was talking about. People with some kind of high classified life, um, beyond or way far from others, to an extent that for you to maintain that, you have to pretend.
Yeah.
For you to keep that picture, that name, and that respect, people are bowing at you, people are serving you. You must keep the boundaries of pretense, even when you are hurting inside. But the big question is, are we hiding from God, or are we hiding from people?
Yeah.
Are we serving God, or are we serving people? Is our relationship between us and God, or us and people? I like Joseph Muremi hupenda kusema kwamba service to humanity is service to God.
Yeah.
But this service to humanity, remember, the origin of that service is a gift from God, right? So you have not hidden from God. In fact, you are really connected. You are really related with God. So the evidence of your relationship with God is this service. Now, when we are being served, then again we are not serving God. Let me come to this issue of this persistent of infidelity, and people are there
holding on and
kuvumilia.
Yeah, unavumilia and
unataka kumaintain nyumba, unataka kukava jina, unataka tunasema hizo vitu zinakwama sana katika kanisa. You know, that is not the Bible. That is not the Bible, because the moment you get out of your wedlock, you disconnect yourself from that sacrifice Christ talked about. The Bible talks of, for instance, we have the case of 1 Corinthians chapter 5. There is this man whom the Bible says alichukua mama yake akamfanya mke wake. In this context, I want to understand that baba yake alikuwa na wake wawili, wake kadhaa, and therefore huyu mwanaume ikawa mke mmoja wa baba yake amemfanya nani? Mke wake. Paulo anasema kwamba na nyinyi kanisa mko hapo, hiyo jambo mnalisherekea, mko na huyo mtu hapo kwa kanisa, akili zenu ziko wapi? Anasema kwamba huyo mtu mngekuwa mmemchukua mmemtupa nje, kwenye atashughulikiwa ni shetani kule. What is the point here? Ni ya kwamba any infidelity, the very moment hata si kujulikana, imekuwa suspected, it should be talked about, it should be addressed. If it is proved, if it is seen and the culprit hataki kubadilika, hameonekana tena, please, I say and I say and I say it a million times. Toroka kwa hiyo ndoa mara moja. Toroka kwa hiyo ndoa. Toka. In this context, I'm talking of separation. Separate yourself. You are the man, you are the woman. Separate yourself. Then handle when you are part away. Handle when you are part away. Why? Look, unajua dhambi ni kama huwa inakuja kwa njia tofauti, ama hii issue infidelity. Kwa mfano ukiangalia katika nyakati za Biblia na nyakati za siku ya leo, unaona kwamba magonjwa ni mengi sana, right? Magonjwa ni mengi sana. So magonjwa kama yako mengi, na mimi niko hapa na kuvumilia. Number 2, watu sio wamekuwa mashetani ama ni nini? Yaani watu wanauana, watu wanachoma. Sasa mimi nimekuwa lao ukawa na mahusiano zingine kule nje, right? Nimevumilia. Yule kule nje, mwende mpitane venye mmepitana, akuje hapa kwa nyumba, aniletee akikutafuta. Akujie mali yangu akikutafuta. Aingilie familia yangu akikutafuta. So hii muda yote nimekuwa nikisanitize wote. I'm saying that please, if kama imeonekana katika nyumba, please separate yourself, handle it. Let people come in. Let other people, stakeholders like wachungaji, like family people, like this team, wakuje ndani washughulikie. If you are for the family, you will change and you will apologize, you will come back to the track, then move on. Wacheni sura za kupendeza watu, wacheni kung'ang'ania jina pale ambalo litakuja kukuweka chini. Please let people talk, let people handle it openly the way it should be for their betterment.
Families. Wow. We would love to see families flourish, families thrive. And if families are thriving, even the individuals in those families are thriving. The last time we said that a family ideally should be a place of refreshment. But yes, there's a big monster. Some of the challenges facing families is infidelity. And Pastor has just said, please ask for help. There are many people willing to help. Please, usikae, you have been going through so much pain. Your family is going through a lot of brokenness, and yet there are places where you can get the wholeness. So there's still hope. Let's keep talking now, and I'll come to Rose. Before we go to the effects of infidelity, looking at how infidelity affects families, what would you say about what Pastor said? He said that if you find that this is a continued thing in families, please take off. What is your take on that from a psychologist's point of view?
The difference between a psychologist and a pastor is psychologists we don't suggest, we cannot give you any view. But what we do, we try to work with you and try to show you the real picture of what it is.
Yeah.
We also look at things not from the aftermath of infidelity, but from your thought process. For example, I should not be so bothered about a disease that will be as a result of an infidelity, but my concern would be what made you go to that extent. By that, we are able to handle things from a different angle, because I believe one thing, there are worse things than infidelity is one of the many things that is happening.
Yeah.
From a counselor's perspective, we only advocate for someone to leave if there is something that we call violence, because we are concerned, according to our ethical codes, life is very important. So where your life is threatened, then you're not supposed to be anywhere around. We are supposed to sort your issues when you're apart. But what am I saying? we look at the effects of what is happening around. So what's happening as a psychologist, my stand is, if there is infidelity, get to know what is the cause of this. Because, like we said, suppose I'm having a mpango wa kando because I see this. This is something that I've grown seeing. I even don't know whether it's a sin or not. When you invest in your marriage and get a counselor, and we discuss things through and realize, by the way, this is wrong. Because what we do, we bring things which are in your unconscious to the conscious. We are able to discuss together things. You're able to see yourself. Actually, you see yourself from a different angle. I know, by the way, I need to change my way of thinking. So that is my stand as a psychologist.
I always think that by the time people get married, like Pastor said, we need to have gone through counseling. Although sometimes it does not always happen that way. But you've reminded me of the fact that sometimes we take vows, or couples will take vows. And I wonder whether we actually get to analyze what each of these vows really means deeply. Sometimes I think we look at it from a face value. Because when I think about the vows, we say, to hold in sickness, in health, for good, for worse. It's really something so deep and such high level commitment. And I think there are times we may go to the front there and we say these vows, of course, sincerely, but we don't realize the deepness of those vows. And it's a high time we start giving it more thought. Even I'm saying that to Pastor who is in that in church, and I know you also do counseling, and to you, Rose, that really it's a time to be reflecting more on what do the vows actually say. Because at the end of the day, we still want to be able to give hope to families and to tell families that as you engage in marriage, this is what you're getting yourself into. Family is a beautiful thing. It is lovely to be in a family, but yes, it can also be the reverse. So keep watching, viewer. We'll be right back after a break.